store. People are lined up to get in.
Masechta Shabbos 55. So we were talking about that the Zakanim, the Chachamim have the requirement to be mochiach. If they see something wrong, they have to point out what's wrong. Rav Yudah and Yosef Kamei to Shmuel. Rav Yudah was sitting in front of Shmuel. Also, it's a woman came, Kotzavcha Kamei, and was, crying on some kind of bad thing that was happening to her, and nobody's helping her. And V'lohava Mashgich Bon, Shmuel acted as if he didn't really respond to the woman. Amr Leis, Rav Yehuda said to Shmuel, Lo savar leimar oitem azno mizakas dal, a person who closes his ears to the cries of the poor, gam hu yikra v'lo yeyameh, he will end up calling out to Hashem, will not be answered. So why didn't you answer this woman? Amr Lei, Shmuel said, Shinana, you have long teeth. Reishach bekariri, Reisha de Reishach bechamimi. Your head is cold and your Rebbe's head is hot. Which was sort of like he pushed him off and he said, Yosef Mar Ukva Avbezdin. Mar Ukva is the Avbezdin. He's the one responsible for Klal Yisrael, not me. You see, Beis David, Kormar Hashem Dino Labokra Mishpat Vatzilo Gazum Yat Oshek, Pentek Tzechach Chamos Varve Mechabed Neirom Aleya. So it's the Chov is established on the head of the Reish Galusa, who was Mar Ukva. Amalei Rav Zeir Rav Simon. Luchinu Mar Lahani Devei Reish Galusa. You should give tochacha to the people in the house of the Reish Galusa. You should have an influence on them because they're not doing things correctly. I don't give them tochacha because they don't accept tochacha. Amar Lei, Rav Zera said to Rav Simon, just because they won't accept your tochacha doesn't exempt you from being mochiach them. Rav Chanina, may olam lo yatsa mida tova mepi HaKadosh Baruch Hu. B'chazir b'olara, a good thing didn't come out of the mouth of HaKadosh Baruch Hu to come out bad. Chutz midavar zek, following case. T'chsi.
Ernie, don't we know if somebody's if we know somebody's not gonna be makubal tochacha, that we don't have a chiyuv to give it to them?
That's exactly what this Amoira seems to say, not like that. He says you had a requirement to give them tochacha, even though they were not going to give a kabel.
I think that we know that basically, if we know somebody's not going to listen, and we know that for a fact, that we really shouldn't give them tochacha. I hear what the Amora is saying, but I don't think, I'm not sure how we pass him today, but there's certainly a shita that says that if you know somebody's not going to be makabel your tochacha, that you certainly shouldn't give it to them because it just makes things worse.
Yeah, because Tosfos says, "Hainu hecha de sofik makabli, aval hecha de vari lo makabli hanach lahem." Tosfos says exactly like what you said. Means if you're in doubt whether they will receive it, you should give it. But right, Tosfos says, exactly like Walter said. If you know for sure they're not going to accept, you shouldn't give them tochacha. Better that they should be a shogig rather than mezid. We learned that din by Tosfos Yom Kippur. Do you give tochacha to people that are not observing that? So what is this Mida Tova that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what's the exception to that? When Hashem says something good is going to happen, it's always going to be good, except for one case. Dichsi. Vayomer Hashem Elav, He told, this is the Novi Yecheskel. Avor b'toch ha'ir b'toch Yerushalayim. Go through the city of Yerushalayim. V'hitvita taf al mitzchos anoshim. Write the letter taf on the forehead. On the tzaddikim who are crying out because of all the evil being done. What's the point of this? He told the Malach Gavriel, write on the foreheads of all the tzaddikim a taf from ink. And that would be a siman. I'm going to unleash the malachim of destruction, and this will be a mark to protect those that have the mark. They won't get damaged. On the forehead of the Rishonim, they're going to have inscribed a taf from blood. So the Malach Chabola know who to attack. So Amr Midas Adil of Kodesh Baruch Hu. So the attribute of din said in front of Kodesh Baruch Hu, Baruch Shalom, Manishtanu elu me'elu. I mean, what's the difference between these two groups? So Kodesh Baruch Hu said, Amr Allah, Halal Tzadikim Gmor, Halal Rishon Gmorim. These are tzaddik, complete tzaddik. These are complete Rishon. Amr Lefan of the Midas Adin said, still, whatever you say, the tzaddikim Ribono Shalom hayabiyadim lemachos v'lo michu. The tzaddikim who saw the Rishonim acting improperly should have protested, and they didn't. So who cares that these are tzaddikim gmorim, these are Rishonim? The fact that the tzaddikim didn't protest puts them in the same category. Amr law. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to the Midas Adin, Goli v'adil fanai, shemichu b'hem lo yikablu b'hem. I knew, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was saying, that if they would have protested, the Rishonim would not have accepted. So it doesn't make a difference that they didn't protest. So the Midas Adin, Amr Lefan of Ribono Shalom, Im Lefanecha Goli, Lahem Goli. You know what was, what will be, what is all. You are all knowing. But the tzaddikim did not know that they would not be makabel, so they had no right not to be moish for them. Hainu dichsiv zokein bocher upsula taf the noshim tahargu l'mashchis. The zakenim, the bachurim, the besulos, stop. Everyone's going to get killed by the mashchis. Whoever has the taf should not come close to my migdash. Looks like a Kodesh Baruch Hu agreed to the prosecutor of the Midas Adin. And this was the one time where even though the Pasuk says a Kodesh Baruch Hu wanted to do Tov, he instructed that the taf should go on the tzaddikim and they should be protected. But after this debate with the Midas Adin, Hashem went back, and Rashi says v'chazar min hatov.
Because Ernie, you know that tzaddik goes there by Kodesh Baruch Hu Mekayem. So if the tzaddikim would have given them tochacha, so maybe they would have changed. Not the fact that they didn't give tochacha, so that didn't help. That's what we say always, no?
Yeah, and economic, meaning that the Gemara's answer was more like what we said about it was a suffix. Because maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew in the future that if they would have been given tocha, they wouldn't have done tshuva. But the tzaddikim are not all knowing like Hashem. They didn't know for sure that the Rishon would not be makabel. They were mesupik. Obviously, it was a case of suffix, like we said before. Otherwise, we said you wouldn't give them tocha. So because they could be that they would have done tshuva. So based on that, he agreed to the Midas Adin. Tony Rav Yosef Altikra Migdoshi Ela Mikudoshai. That means those that are like my holy ones. We're going to be Makadosh Shem Shamayim. Well, who's that? Elu bnei adam shekimu sator kula me'elav atov. It's another shot in who was going to get the tuf of ink etched on their forehead. People who were Makai in the Torah from Aleph till Taf. That's why they used the Taf. Umiyad v'nei shisha nashim ba'im miderech shara elyon asher maftet tzafon. So then there was a vision of these 6 malachim coming from the Shara Elyon. V'ish kli mefatzu b'yod v'ish echad b'tochem lavush abadim. One was wearing white. V'keset hasover b'masnav. He had some kind of something in his loins were girded. And these Malachi Chabola, they stood next to the copper Mizbeach. There was no Mizbeach HaNechoshes in the Beis HaMikdash in the time of Cheskel, because Shlomo buried it. And he made him his Mizbeach of Avonim of 32 by 32 amas. Like it says in Malachim, Ki Mizbeach HaNechoshes Asher L'Pnei Hashem Koten Me'ach. It was too small. But that Mizbeach HaNechoshes was made by Moshe. That was in the Mishkan. But they didn't use, by the time of Yecheskel, there was no copper Mizbeach. Am LaKadosh Baruch Hu Haschilu Mimakom Sha'omim Shir Lefanai. He told the Malachi Chabola to start their campaign in the place where the Levium would sing, and they would use copper instruments to play along with their singing. That's what it means, Nechoshes. So, Umaniyu, Shisha Noshim, who were these 6 people? Anav Chizda, the names of the Malachi Chabola, Ketzef, which is another word for anger, Af, which is certainly a word for anger, like Charon Af. The Chema is another word for anger. Umashchis, it's like a destroyer. Umeshaber, like a breaker. Umachaled, someone who also destroys. So Umayshna Taf, why did they choose the letter Taf to be inscribed? Amar Rav Yosef, Taf for Tichya. Taf Tammuz. They both got a Taf. One got a Taf made out of ink. That was for life. One got a Taf made out of Dam, which was for death. Ushmuel Amar, the reason they used the Taf was Thomas Chusavois. At this time, the Beis HaMikdash Harishon, says the Maral, stood because of Schus Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. The Churban Abayis occurred because there was no more Schus Avos. The Maral explains in the Or Gedalyahu, Rav Gedaliah Shor explains that each Av represented an aspect of one of the Gimel Averos, who fought it, like Avram fought against Avodah Zarah, and Yaakov fought against Shrichas Damim, and Yitzchak fought against Gilu Arayos. As these sins became prevalent during Bayis Rishon, so that the schus that each Av gave, because of their ability to overcome these Gimel Averos Chamuros, the Beis HaMikdash couldn't stand anymore. Bayis Sheni, for example, says the Maral, stood because of the concept of Knesset Yisrael. It stemmed from when Esther told Mordechai, Lech Kenosis Kol HaYehudim. So Knesset, the fact that they started having a base Knesset that only started after Esther. So Bayis Sheni stood because of the concept of Klal Yisrael, Knesset Yisrael, as a nation, as one nation. So therefore, when there was Sinas China at the end of Bayis Sheni, The same way that once the Averis that was supported by the Avos went away, and therefore the bias couldn't stand. So the bias Shani couldn't stand because it was Sinas Chinam. Because the only reason it was standing was because of Knesset Yisrael. Once there's no Knesset Yisrael, there could be no bias. So Shmuel said that the Taf represented that Zchus Avos no longer exists. Tama, from the Lashon of Tama, which means end. Rav Yochanan Amar, Tachon Zchus Avos. He wanted to say, no, it was like the Taf was that Zchus Avos should encamp in Israel. V'reish Lakish Amar Taf, why was it put on the forehead of the tzaddikim? Sof Chaysomish LaKodesh Baruch Hu. It's the last letter of when Hashem signs his name. The Amar of Chanina, Chos Moshe LaKodesh Baruch Hu, Emes, the seal on the signet ring of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when he seals something, is the word Emes. So the last word of that is a Taf. Like we said before, the Taf represents the fact that the tzaddikim were Makayim Kol HaTorah Kula, from Aleph till Taf. Okay, now that you opened up this concept of that Zchus Avos went away, Meimesai Thomas Zchus Avos, when did that occur? Amarav, Mimos Hoshea ben Be'eri, the Navi Hoshea, Sheneamar, Agala es navlusa le'inei me'aveh, v'ish lo yatzilea miyodi. Nobody will be able to be saved from the Golus. Even the Avos will have no ability to save Klal Yisrael. That's the me'aveh, referring to the Avos, the beloved of Hashem. Ushmol Amar, Mimei Chazal. It happened in the times of Chazal Melech Aram. Shenamar v'Chazal Melech Aram, Lo chatzas Yisrael kol yemei Yehoyachaz. Yehoyachaz was the Melech Yisrael. Ksiv, Vayachal Hashem osam, Vayirachem, Vayifen aleim l'man brisot Avram Yitzchak Yaakov. It's the last time in Tanakh that Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov are mentioned, the bris. And up until now, Hashem never allowed them to be destroyed. And this is actually the last time in Tanakh that the bris Avos is mentioned. Rabbi Shimon Levi Omer Mimei Eliyahu. Much earlier, in the time of Eliyahu Navi and Achav Melech Achav, Shneamar, this is by the Hara Carmel, when Eliyahu fights with the 400 Nevi Abal. Vayibalos Amincha Vayagesh Vayigash Eliyahu Navi Vayomer Hashem Elokei Abraham Yitzchak Yisrael Hayom Yivada Ki Ata Elokim Yisrael V'ani Avdecha V'dvarcha Sisi is called B'ma'ele. So since he meant so that is, this opinion is when there's Hayom Yivada. Today you'll see that Hashem will answer you because of Zchus Avos, but not after today. That's the Hayom. Rav Yochanan Mimechis Kiyo Amelech Shneamar Lemarbeh Misra U'Shalom in Kates Al Kisei David V'Mamlachto Lachinoto L'Sadav Mishpat V'Tzedakah Me'ata V'Yad Olam Kinat Hashem Tzvakos Tasezos. It's only Kinas Hashem that Hashem is jealous on behalf of Klal Yisrael that he protects them. But no more Zchus Avos. Amar Vavi, Ein Misa B'lo Chet. A person doesn't die without sin. If a person did not sin, he would not die. Vein Yisurim B'lo Avon. And people don't suffer without Avon. Right? Remember, Chet usually refers to sinning b'shogeg. You sinned, but you can bring a chatas. And Avon usually refers to sinning b'mezid. Either way, here it's referring to sinning. Where do you see a misa blochet? Tichsiv nefesh achotes, he tamus. The soul that sins will die. Pain. Lo yisab oven ha'av, va'av lo yisab oven ben. A father will not carry the oven of his son, and the son will not carry the oven of the Av. Sidkas tzaddik alav tiyeh. If he's a tzaddik, he'll be a tzaddik. V'risha sarosha alav tiyeh. The pasuk in Yechezkel. If he's a rasha, he'll be treated like that. If he's a tzaddik, he'll be treated like that. And en yisra b'lo oven d'chsiv ufakarti b'shevet pisham. So you see, you get a nega, which is some kind of mafla through avonos. Nunei amud beis. I'll ask a kasha on what we just said. Why did you decree that Adam Arishon should die? I told him not to eat from the Eitz Hadas. He ate from it. It's a very simple mitzvah, and he was over that mitzvah. So that's why he got death. I understand. Aaron and Moshe were Mekayim the whole Torah, yet they died. And the pasuk continues. This is in Koheles. Which seems to imply that Misa is Nigzar on everybody in the same vein and not necessarily connected to your Maisi. So Huda Amar Ki Haitana, he holds like the fine time the Tanya, Reb Shimon Elazar Omer, Af Moshe v'Aaron b'cheta mesu. That Reb Shimon Elazar said, no, Moshe and Aaron died because of the sin they did. Shenamar, the sin of Mei Meriva. Yan lo emantem bi. Ha emantem bi adan lo yigez man chali patrin adam. If you would have had faith in me, you wouldn't have died. Okay. Meisvei. I'll ask you another question. You said that everybody dies because they had sin. It says in the Brisa, Arba Mesu be'etu shel Nachash. 4 human beings died. They didn't sin. They sinned because of the Nachash, because of the sin of Adam Arishon. They didn't have their own personal sins. It's only because of the time of the Nachash with Adam Arishon that Misa was Nigzar on the world. Who are these people that had no sin? Elohein Binyamin ben Yaakov, Rachel's younger son, Binyamin. The Amram Avi Moshe, Amram the father of Moshe. The Yishai Avi David, David's father. The Kilav ben David, one of David's sons, Kilav. The Kula Gemara Labar Yishai Avi David. All of these are a Masorah. It's a tradition, except for Yishai, the Mefarish Beikra. There's a pasuk. Let's see. Vesamasha Sam Avshalom. Avshalom placed Amasha Tachas Yoav Sar Tzava. He made Amasha one of the officers under Yoav, who was the general. The Amasha ben Ish, Ushmo Yisra Yisraeli. Amasha was the son of Yisra. Asher Bol Avigail, the mother of Amsha was Avigail. Bas Nachash, who was the daughter of Nachash, Achos Tzruya. Nachash was the sister of Tzruya, and Yoav ben Tzruya. The sons of Tzruya were Abishai, Yoav, and Ashael. So the Gemara asks, I don't understand. Abigail was the daughter of Yishai, not Nachash. Dichsivach Yosei and Sruya of Abigail. The sisters of all of David's brothers were Sruya and Abigail. Ella. So it means Yishai was a bas Misha Meis Be'etul Nachash. He's called Nachash because he died because of the sin of the Nachash. He didn't have his own sin. So where's his money? Who is this Baraisa that said that that these four people didn't have any sin? Is it the Tana who told us the story of what the Malach HaSharei said? But Aaron, but then they also died according to that shot without sin. So it's the second Tana, that said even Moshe and Aaron died in sin. There are people who die without chet. So we knock Ravami, who was the one who said that a misa below chet, at least according to Rav Shimon ben Elazar, it's not correct. Now that you mentioned people who are thought to have sinned and didn't sin, or whatever, whoever thinks that Ruvain, the Bechor of Yaakov, sinned, he's mistaken. Shenema, because it says in Pasuk, in Bereshis Lamed Hey, Vayibish Kon Yisrael B'Aretz Hahi, Vayelech Ruvain, Vayishkav et Bilha Pilegesh Avi. It seems to say that he slept with Bilha, who was Yaakov's Pilegesh. Vayishma Yisrael, and immediately Vayubne Yaakov Shnei Masar. And those of you who were in the Navi Shir remember that this is the other example in Tanakh. Remember in Yoshua when they crossed the Yarden, that there was a parsha in the middle of a pasuk. Here the same thing. There's a parsha in the middle of this pasuk by Yishma Yisrael, by Yubnei Yaakov, because they wanted to emphasize back to the Gemara Malamit Shekulan Shkulam Ka'achas, that Reuven was like Levi and Yehuda. They were all equal. So he was a tzaddik. So Elamani Mekayva Yishkav is Bila Pilegeshavi. So what's the pshat that he slept with Bila? I mean, if you sleep with your father's concubine, you're chayiv. It's a capital crime. It's not just Eishes Eve, but it comes to your father because it says Knaf Avi. Any person that your father had relations with, even one time, it's not even B'derech Ishus, even B'derech Znus, you'd be chayiv. Certainly Pilegesh, which was Derech Ishus, they lived together. A Pilegesh didn't have a ksuba. That's the difference between a Pilegesh and a regular wife. There was no financial responsibility. So what does it mean? Malamit shabil bil matzor shel aviv. He changed the bed of his father, meaning Yaakov, Rachel and Leah were two co-wives where it seems from the Torah that Yaakov favored Rachel. So when Rachel died, Bila was Rachel's Pilegesh. But according to Reuven, it was not kovedik to his mother Leah that after the death of Rachel, Yaakov should still sleep in the tent of Bila. Reuven felt he should sleep in the tent of Leah, Yaakov's remaining wife. And it was a lack of covet to his mother. So he moved Yaakov's bed into the tent of Leah. So that's chutzpahdik. So on the level of a tzaddik, Like Ruvain, it's considered a chet. Or, I mean, the Morris is not even to say that he was chata, but it's considered something that's why the Torah says about him, Vayishkav Ruvain is Pilegesh Aviv. But it wasn't, he didn't, what the Gemara wants to tell us, he didn't really sleep with Bila. But the Torah treats it as if, so that there is a concept of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is judges tzaddikim kechut hasara, like a thread. Meaning, for you and I, these things wouldn't even be considered sins. We do certain things that wouldn't even be considered, but for a tzaddik, it would certainly be not appropriate. So, for example, Yaakov is taken to task because he locked Dinah in a box when they were traveling to Esav. He didn't want Esav to see Dinah. He was afraid that Esav would want to marry Dinah. So he put her in a box. So in today's world, we would praise. Oh my God, he was showing her, he made sure there was tznius, but apparently he was punished for that. The whole mice of Shechem, Chazal tell us, occurred because he put Dinah in a box. Why? Because Eina Chanami, Esav should have married Dinah, and Dinah would have made him a Baal Tshuva. So this is the concept of the tzaddikim are judged kechut hasar. And this is another example of it. Tanya Rav Shimon Elazar Oimer, Mutzal also tzadik me also avam, v'lo b'maisu zel liyodo. This tzaddik was saved from this sin, and the maisa never occurred. After Osid Zar Lamal Ar Eva. Now, in the future, like we learned last week in the Navi Shir, that after they crossed the Yarden, they took the stones to Har Eval, right? But and some hold that the whole ceremony of the Arur, the Baruch, was done at that day. The Lomar Arur Shochev Meshes of Aviv. That in the future, Shevet Reuven is going to say Amen to this curse. And you think he's going to do that sin? Absolutely not. He was fighting for the honor of his mother. Omar im achos imi haisatzara liimi. My aunt Rachel, right, the sister of my mother, who was Rachel, was my mother's co-wife. Shivcha achos imi teitzar liimi. So what? Now the shivcha of my aunt will be my mother's co-wife. So he moved the mattress to the tent of Leah. Acherim oimrim. Now, who's Acherim? Chazal tells Acherim is Rav Meir. We'll have a Gemara that will explain that, why he was called Acherim. But Shtei Matzos Bilbel. He mixed up two beds. Achas shel Shechina v'achas shel Aviv. One of the his father and one of the Shechina. Hainu d'chsiv az chilata yitzu'i Allah. Al tikra yitzu'i Allah yitzu'ai, which is plural, multiple beds. Beds meaning like the makom of the Shechina, because the Shechina was mitzuya ba'olei tzadikim. The Shechina, gentlemen, I encourage you to look at the Hagdama of the Ramban, who's Magdim, who has a Hagdama of Sefer Shmos. He asks, why is Sefer Shmos called Sefer HaGeula? So he explains, well, Klal Yisrael was Nigal from Mitzrayim. But then he says, what about Parshas Truma, Tetzaveh, Vayakel, all about the building? What does that have to do with Geula? So he explains there that the whole point of getting out of Mitzrayim and to get the Matan Torah was eventually to build the Mishkan. And to get the Shekhinah to come back to where it was, like it was in the tents of our Avos, says the Ramban, that when Sarah lit a candle, that was like the menorah in the Mishkan. Or when she made the challah, that was like the lechem aponim on the shulchan. So the Ramban actually says that the whole point of the Mishkan was to go back to the Oel of the Tzaddikim. And that's what it means here, that he also interfered with the Shechina. Kitanoi, there's a machlokes tanoi. Pachas kamam al toisar. It says that Ruvain was very quick. Pachas. Pasta chavta zalta. It's an abbreviation for pasta from that's quick. Chavta, he obligated himself zalta, and he made a ma'aser zilzul. We show him posata al das. You skipped over the religion das. Chatosa, you sin zanisa. That's the concept of pachas. Rabbi Galil Omer pilalta, you davin. Chalta, you shook from fear. Zorcha tfilasecha, and your tefillas were rewarded. You are a yirei chet, and that's the pachas. Pilalta, chalalta, zarcha. None of these are as good as Rabbi Lezer Moidoi. He says, "Hafochas ateva v'dorsha." Switch, reverse the word pachas, and it should be zayin, chet, pei, ziazta, hirtarta, parcha, chet, ima. You shook, and you daven, and you were able to get the chet to run away from you. Rav Amar Varbi Rav Yirmiyah Barava Zocharta Onshu Shel Davar. That's the Zayin. You remembered the punishment. Chalis Atzmach Choili Gadol. You fasted. You led yourself to get sick through fasting, to be kovish your yetzer, and pirashta milachto, and you went away from sin. Period. Ruven b'nei Eli b'nei Shmuel David Shlomo Yoish Sim. These are simonim of the next sugyas. Amar Shmuel bar Nachmani Rav Yonasan. Kol Omer b'nei Eli chatu eino ela toeh. That in the beginning of Shmuel Aleph, we know that the shofet is Eli HaKohen. He's the last shofet before Shmuel HaNavi. And his sons, Chofni and Pinchas, were the Bnei Eli. There is also a pasuk there, like by Ruvain, that seems to imply that they did things inappropriate. And now the Gemara says the same things. They really didn't sin. Whoever says they sin is mistaken. Shenem, Visham Shnei Bnei Eli im Aron Bris Elokim. They were there in Mishkan Shiloh with the Aron. Chofni upinchas Kohanim Lashem. Sarvelo Karav Damarav. Pinchas Loichata. Pinchas, who was one of these sons, did not sin. And therefore, Makish Chofni LePinchas. Ma Pinchas Lochata av Chofni Lochata. So neither Chofni or Pinchas sin. Elamanim Yakayim, what does it say there in the pasuk? Ve'eli Zakein Me'ol. V'shamat kol asher yasun banav v'chol Yisrael. You heard what his sons were doing. Ve'etz asher yishkevunas hanoshim. They were sleeping with the women. Hatzovos Pesach Omer, that gather in front of Omer. So that sounds pretty bad. But they didn't really sleep with the women. Mitoch sheshivas kineyem. So women primarily would come to the Mishkan to offer korbanos of yoledes. After they give birth, they would bring birds, particularly a poor woman. And they sort of were lazy. They didn't rush to offer their korbanos. Now, A yoledes, if she gives birth to a male, is tamei for 40 days. And then on her 41st day, she brings these korbanos. Then she's allowed to go live with her husband. A female is tamei for 80 days. If she gives birth to a female, she's tamei for 80 days. On the 81st day, she brings korbanos. Which korbanos? These birds. Now, if the Kohanim don't offer it, these wives cannot go back and live with their husbands. So because they delayed, and it prevented the women, the Torah recounts as if they had slept with them. But chas v'sholom, if they had slept with them, they had not slept with them. Gufa. Okay. You mentioned this detail in passing. We're going to go into it in detail. Honor of Pinchas loichata. We know that Pinchas, one of the sons of Eli, did not sin. How do we know that? Shenem. Ve'achia ben Achituv. Achi ikavod ben Pinchas ben Eli, Kohen. So it's giving, this is in Divrei Yomim. No, I'm sorry, this is later on in Shmuel. So it says, Achia ben Achituv, the brother of Ikavod, who was himself the son of Pinchas ben Eli, Kohen Hashem b'Shilo nosei efod v'am lo yada ki elach yonasan. Efshar chata b'al yado. Could he have sinned because of miyachso to Eli HaKohen? Can't be. V'alo kvar nemar yachreis Hashem le'ish asher yasena er v'onem ola Yaakov u'megish min chal Hashem zvar. Hashem will cut off anybody who's trying to be a Kohen. He will not be miyaches to Yaakov Avinu. Im Yisrael lo yelo er. If he's Israeli, he won't have a connection with Chachamim. And no answer by Talmidim. Bim Kohen lo yelo ben Magish Mincha. He'll never be a Kohen. So because Pinchas was miyaches to his grandfather Eli, must be that he had not sinned. And like we said above, it says Chofni u Pinchas. So we were makish Chofni to Pinchas. Up there. Madoch Pinchas did not sin. Chofni didn't sin either. So the Gemara wants to know, so what does it mean, Asher Yishkavun? Why did it say they slept with them? So Yishkavein Ksiv. It says, if you read it, Yishkavein, which implies one person. One person. Not Pinchas. Maybe Chofni did that. Because Yishkavun is plural. That would imply both of them. But since you just proved that Pinchas couldn't have sinned, so we read it Yishkavun, but it could be written Yishkavein. V'haksiv al bonai kilo tova shnua. Eli talks to his two sons, and he says, I hear bad things about you. And the word bonai is plural. Beni ksiv. Bonai it's written beni, which refers to one of his sons. Vaksiv mavirim, which again is plural. Maviram ksiv, which is again singular. Vaksiv bnei blial, my sons who are wild and all over the place. So Eina Chanami, says the Gemara. Mitoch shaylo lepinchas lemachos. This comes the punchline. Pinchas should have protested. L'chofni v'lo micha malal hakosav ki'ilu chata. Pinchas is included in the same pekel. And even though he's not the one who did it. Because he didn't protest what his brother was doing. He's treated as if he did it as well. Very good.
Thank you.
Interesting Gemara today, no?
Correct, yes.